everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Jackie and today I'm going to play with some travertine beads, size 8, in turquoise, green, and then a beige. And I'm going to play with spiral herringbone stitch. And I want to make a necklace out of it. I think it would make a really cool necklace and a good color combination. So to start off, we're going to pick up 2 of the green travertine beads. I'm going to add 2 of the I guess these are gray. They're kind of green, turquoise green and off-white. Not perfect with the colors because they're mottled, so you know they have different color variations to them. So basically I'm going to go back up in a loop just like this, and then I'm going to go back down. I'm just going to call these the green ones. They're kind of a mixture of green and brown, but they're pretty cool. I'm going to add 2 of the beige, and I'm going to go back down opposite of where my thread's coming out. And back up. And I'm actually going to move my beads out of the way just so you can get a clearer and close-up idea without distractions. So I'm just going to move these beads up. And then I'm going to pull my thread up just like so. I'm going to add 2 more of the turquoise. And back down. Pull them with my fingers just so they're pretty tight, because I got to go back up and down them again anyway. So I'm going to go back down just like so. Going to add 2 of the green. Oh, and I'm using 6-pound test beading thread. Okay, so I forgot to mention that. Sorry if I did. But with size 8 beads, you know, you want it fairly thick. Okay, and then 1 more row of the beige, and back down. Okay, now I'm going to fold it over just like so, and I'm going to come back up the turquoise here. Back down. And back up just to secure it. Okay, so you see I formed a little bit of circle just like so, and this will be the base of my work. So next, I'm going to add a turquoise and a brown. Since these are 2 I'm going through, I'm going to go down through 2 beads. And this is just my beginning base. I'm going to go up the 2 beige. I'm going to look at my stitches. So next will be beige and turquoise. So I'm going to add a beige and a turquoise. I'm going to go down these 2 beads. And I love these travertine beads because they're so earthy, and I think that would just make a really cool necklace. So I'm going to go up the green. I might call it brown, I might call it green, but it's the green. So I'm going to add a green and a beige, since those are my next two rounds. Okay, and now I've got a secure row, so I'm going to go up all three here. Okay. So I'm going to add one more row doing the same thing, and I think I'm going to move my beads over to the right. Just so I can get them with my right hand. It might be easy if you're using your left hand too. You know, if you're left hand, put them on the left side. But I just want them easy where I don't have to reach across my camera all the time. Okay. That'll do it. Okay, I'm happy with that. All right, so next I'm going to add a turquoise and a green. Since I'm coming out of turquoise and going down green, and I'm going to go down through two. Make sure my beads sit in place. And then I'm going to go up the next two. So I'm skipping that very bottom one. Okay. Pretty enough. I'm going to add a beige and a turquoise. Since those are my next two colors in line, I'm going to go down two. Just like so. And up the next two. To up the green. And I pull kind of tightly as I go just to make sure everything's secure. So next I'm going to have a green and a beige. So I'm going to do those two, and I'm going to go through those two. And then up 1, 2, 3. Just to secure it. Okay. So you're going to see that they're not quite attached at the top yet, so we're going to change that. And I'm going to start spiraling it. So there's a little trick to that. So I'm going to go add a turquoise and a green. Then I'm going to go down these two. And now the difference is, instead of going up two, I'm going to skip all of them and go up one. Instead of two. Okay, and just keep watching. It'll work out. So I'm going to add a beige and a turquoise for my next row. I'm going to go down two. Just like so. And then I'm going to go up the top one of the green. So to go down two, up one. Okay, this will start causing this to twist, which is what I want. So I'm going to add a green, I'm going to add a beige, I'm going to go down two, and we're not going to step up this round, so what I'm going to do is make sure all my rows are tight the way they're supposed to be. So I'm just going to kind of pull a little bit, make sure everything's tight. And instead of going up two rows or stepping up, I'm going to go up the top one. So I'm going up one in the turquoise row. This is going to start causing it to spiral. So now I'm going to add turquoise and a green. Going to go down two. And then up one of the beige. Okay, you see how it's kind of pushing it that way? So it's about to start spiraling pretty nicely. So I'm going to add a beige and a turquoise. I'm going to go down 2. And up 1. Okay, if you pull tight, you'll see it start to spin. Okay, so next I'm going to add a green and a beige. Gonna go down 2. And this row starts the turquoise again, so I'm gonna go up that last turquoise and I'm gonna pull it tight. Okay, now I'm gonna add a turquoise and a green, and you can feel it will pull pretty sturdy, so it's not gonna be a big problem. So I'm gonna go down 2 of the green, make sure everything's straight, and up the beige, just 1. So from here on out, down 2, up 1. And as long as you keep your colors in sync where they're supposed to be, it will work out perfectly. And this is a nice color combination to have. I kind of like it. Very subtle and earthy. So I'm going to add a green and a beige. Go down 2 beige. And back up 1 of the turquoise. Okay, so you can see it starting to turn, which is what I want. So it'll be kind of straight here, but then it starts turning to the side and twisting. So I'm going to keep going till, you know, we get the first twist and we'll be able to see it. So I'm going to add a turquoise and a green. Go down 2. Attempt not to tangle my thread too bad here. Okay, so I'm going to have to pull that out. So tip for you, if you can get your needle in there, usually you can, usually it's just a slip knot and it'll come out. If you tangle it up too bad, you might have to pause and untangle it. All right, so down 2 and up the beige. Pull tight, and then I'm going to add a beige and a turquoise. And I'm going to go down 2. And when using big beads like that, a 6-pound or heavier is actually very good to use, just because, you know, it'll keep it sturdy and doesn't break when you pull it tight. All right, so I'm going to go up that 1 green, and I'm going to add a green and a beige. I'm going to go down 2. Sometimes the beads aren't perfect. I just found one that wasn't, but it's all right. It'll work out in the end. And then back up the 1 turquoise. Okay. So see, you can see it start twisting. So I'm going to continue on. So turquoise and green, down 2, up 1, make sure I don't loop it around myself there. Okay. Beige and a turquoise, down 2, up 1. Just make sure they're lying evenly. And then green and beige, down 2, up 1. If you need to go around with your fingers and just kind of pull it tight, feel free to do so. Never hurts. Okay, so you can see it's starting to twist. Now I don't have anything in the center to brace it. I might think about that later, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to continue on with my design, and I'll meet you back when I'm about halfway through or a few inches, just to show you what it looks like as it gets twisted. So I'll be back shortly. Okay, so I've gotten a couple inches done, maybe, let's say, maybe 2.5, 2.25 inches out of that 2 arms length of thread. And I just wanted to show you what my piece looks like. So you can see it's just doing a nice spiral all the way around. Now, the only thing about this stitch is that it will be very flexible, so it's going to flatten pretty easily. So what I'll probably do when I get to the end is run a leather cord through it. I think that would look nice and, you know, keep with that rustic touch to it. But I love the color combination together. So I'm at the tie-off point. I've only got a few inches left, but I wanted to show you what it looks like as it starts spiraling. And I'll meet you back here when I get to the end, and I'll show you how to finish it off. All right, so I've reached about 18 inches on my necklace, and that's about the length that I want this to be. I'm going to put leather cording on the inside so I can have it adjusted to any size that I want, but I think 18 inches is a good all-around working length. So I'm at the end, and I've finished all of my rows going around, and it has a very nice twist to it. And so now I'm going to finish the very end of it. Now, if you look at your beginning, I've got about 4 beads, you know, just to make the base row, so that's what I'm going to do. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm coming out of the turquoise, so I'm going to add 2 turquoise and 2 greens. And I'm going to go down 2 beads and pull. Then I'm going to go up 2 beads here instead of the 1. And I'm going to add 2 of the beige and 2 of the turquoise. I'm going to go down 2 beads and then up the next 2 beads. And I'm just doing this just to keep it a little bit tight. I think it'll work out nicely that way. All right, so make sure that your beads line up correctly, because thread can get twisted a little bit. Okay, and it will look that way for a second. Okay, I'm going to add 2 of the green and 2 of the beige. And I'm going to go down 2 and up 2. And pull slowly just so nothing gets tangled or twisted. That way it'll give you time to adjust along the way if you need to. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is finish off. So I'm going to add 2 turquoise, 2 green. I'm going to go down 2. And then I'm going to go up 4. and down 4, just like so. I'm going to go up 2, and I'm coming out of the beige, so I'm going to add 2 beige, and then I'm going to go down 2 of the green, and back up 2 of the green. Then I'm going to go down 4 of the green. If you can tell what I'm doing here, I'm just kind of securing it in the center and then securing it really well, you know, just for the end of the rope here, making it look nice. So I want it to be as even as I can get it. So I'm up 2 beige, so I'm going to go down with 2 turquoise, I'm going to go back up the beige, and pull. So you can see that just makes everything nice and even. So I'm going to go down 4 turquoise, then I'm going to turn around and go back up the last 2 of the greens, just like so. I'm going to add 2 greens, and then I'm kind of improvising this. There's not really rhyme or reason, but basically what I'm doing is securing it here in the center and then on top. So I'm going to go back up the 2 greens I just put on. And pull just to tighten it up a little bit, and then I'm going to go down 4 turquoise very slowly so I don't catch my thread, and then back up 4 greens. And last but not least, I'm going to add 2 beige. And I'm going to go down these 2 beige. Back up the 4. I guess I'll go through 2 just to get that center thread right there. And back down the 4. Now last, I've already got the 4 beads here, so I'm going to go up the 4 turquoise, down 2 beads. I'm sure you can develop your own pattern, which is comfortable. Alright, and I'm just going to secure those. I'm going to actually tie 2 half-hitch knots here. So very carefully making sure everything is tight. And 1 more. And then I'm just going to run my thread down several of the beige beads and tie it off. Cut it. So it's already tied off. So just going to run some through and trim. All right, to finish off my necklace, you can see I've got nice neat ends here. Looks really good. And then I pulled some bronze findings, so I have some leather cord ends with a loop on them. You should be able to see that here. And then just take a pair of pliers and pull them shut. I've got some jump rings and a simple lobster claw clasp. And then I also pulled, cut 20 inches of, looks like 2mm leather thread, leather cord. Okay, nothing fancy, but I think this will be pretty effective. So what I'm gonna do is run my cord end down. So get that going all the way around. Okay, so I've got my ends in. So I was gonna leave roughly an inch on each end, give or take. And since I'm using cord ends, you know, that way you don't have to worry about extra space or clasp or anything like that. All right, so I think the best tool to use with these crimps would be my large crimping pliers. Since they have big holes right here, I think that'll help a lot, especially to grip it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on the end, and I really want it on the very end. And then I'm going to take my crimping pliers and just kind of crimp that around like so. So I just did one half of it, and then I'm doing the other half. I think that might work best. Just do one half, then the other, and then just fold it down. And then I think I'm gonna take the crimp part, you know, that has the little divot right here, and on the back of it right here, on my back end, I think I'm going to just crimp that down there too, just to make sure it's nice and tight. Oh yeah, that actually works really, really well. So that puppy is on there. So as you can see. Okay, so now I'm going to add the other one. So just make sure that the loop is face up, and then get it as even as you can so it doesn't block the hole. So that would not be good. Okay, so it's kind of in reverse to regular crimp beads, but so I'm putting one of the rounded parts on the corner and just bringing the end down like so, and then the other one on the other corner and bringing the other end and folding it over just like so. Okay, making sure that's tight. And then I'm going to take the crimp part of the pliers and just crimp right down the middle of that crimp. So there's going to be just a little fold right there in the center. I'm going to hold it down tight. Okay, I'm very happy with that. And then I'm going to feel it and make sure I don't have any rough edges. Probably take and just gently crimp the sides, you know, just to round it out, just in case you have any sharp edges, which of course we don't want either, but I'm doing that very lightly. Okay, and since I already have the loops on, I'm going to take my wide nose pliers and my crimp bead, and then I'm going to take my needle nose over here. I'm just going to hold it with that and pull it out, you know, outward. All right, I'm going to add my clasp just like so. And then I'm going to hold on to it and make sure that both ends snap together. Alright, and if you have a little bit of a raised edge, use the needle nose pliers. On that top. Okay, and then just gently push them together just to make sure that that's not opened. Alright, last but not least, to find the open end of my jump ring and put it on the loop. With the leather piece, you know, you can make it as long as you want, the whole necklace. You know, I chose 18 because I wanted 20 inches overall. I thought that would be a good size, especially for a guy, a regular guy. You know, if he's a bodybuilder, you might want to make it a little bit larger. But this will work. All right, that's perfect. Now, since I was experimenting with a new stitch, I'm probably going to take my needle and thread and go down through the 4 beads, just kind of back and forth on this end where I started, only because, you know, I kind of started off a different way and then kind of learned along the way. Another thing I could do is go through them and then just kind of wrap the thread around a little bit just to keep it, you know, kind of tight at the 1 inch mark. So that might help. But overall, that's a nice little necklace. So I'm going to finish it up and, you know, make it look good. But, you know, those are the basics. So that is a very, very nice twisted stitch. So that's the herringbone twist stitch. Alright, thanks for watching. Please leave your comments down below and don't forget to like and subscribe. And may creativity be your guide.